One day I was at work. I work as a secretary. The office was busy as usual. Phones ringing, people talking, and papers scattered everywhere. I had been working at the company for over 5 years. Every day I came in early, organized files, answered calls, and helped my boss, Mr. Gass, with everything he needed. I was always on time and worked hard, hoping one day I would get a promotion, but in this company getting promoted wasn't easy. Even though I was always working late, helping others and doing my best, someone else always got the promotion before me. I didn't understand why. I had been there longer and knew the work well, yet it felt like I was being overlooked. I was frustrated, but I kept telling myself that my time would come, and then it seemed like my big chance was finally here. There was an open position, one that I had dreamed about for years. It was a step up from where I was, and I knew I was qualified for it. I had put in the work, stayed dedicated, and done everything right. Everyone at the office knew how hard I worked, but there was something standing in my way. My boss, Mr. Gass. Mr. Gass was in his 40s, always dressed sharply in suits, with a smooth voice and an air of confidence. He was the kind of person everyone paid attention to, and he knew it. There was something about him that made you feel like he had power, not just because he was the boss, but because he controlled the room in a way that was hard to explain. At first I didn't pay much attention to how he acted around me. He would always say things like, "Ruth, you're the best secretary I've ever had." Or, "Ruth, I don't know what I'd do without you." These were nice compliments and I appreciated them, but soon I started to notice that his eyes lingered on me a bit longer than they did on anyone else. He would find reasons to come over to my desk more often, asking me for things he could easily do himself. His touches on my shoulder when he passed by became more frequent, and they made me uncomfortable, though I didn't know how to say anything. One afternoon, after a particularly stressful day where everything seemed to go wrong, Mr. Gass called me into his office. My heart pounded in my chest. I wasn't sure if it was because I was nervous about something I had done wrong, or excited because I thought maybe, just maybe, this was the moment he was going to tell me I got the promotion. When I walked into his office, he was standing by the window, looking out at the busy streets below. He turned around, smiled, and told me to sit down. "Ruth," he started, "you've been working so hard, and I've noticed you've been here longer than most of the staff, and I think it's time we talk about your future at the company." My heart jumped. This was it, the moment I had been waiting for, but then something in his tone made me hesitate. The way he looked at me wasn't just professional, it was something more. I tried to ignore the feeling and listened as he continued talking. "You know, Ruth," he said, his voice smooth, "in this business it's not just about how hard you work, it's about relationships, about the people you connect with." I nodded, unsure where he was going with this. "I think you have a lot of potential. You could go far here. Much further than you might think," he added, leaning forward on his desk, his eyes fixed on mine. "But sometimes getting ahead means understanding how things work and knowing when to be flexible." There was a pause, and I felt the tension growing in the room. I didn't know what to say, so I just sat there quietly, hoping he would get to the point. He stood up and walked around the desk, coming closer to where I was sitting. I could feel my pulse quicken as he got closer. "You see, Ruth," he said softly, "now standing beside me, I can help you get that promotion, but I need to know that you're willing to make certain sacrifices." His hand gently touched my shoulder and I froze. I suddenly understood exactly what he was saying. This wasn't about my hard work or my abilities. He wanted something else from me. Something I wasn't willing to give. I felt a lump in my throat and my palms grew sweaty. Are you willing to do what it takes to get ahead? He asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Now his hand slowly slid down my arm and I knew I had to make a decision. My mind raced, thinking of all the times I had worked late, all the effort I had put in, only for it to come to this. Was this really the price I had to pay for success? I took a deep breath and asked him, what kind of sacrifices are you talking about, sir? Mr. Gass smiled, leaning in a little closer. It's not much, Ruth, he said, his voice soft and smooth. You see, you're not just any secretary to me. You're different, special. I've always admired you, not just your work, but your beauty, your body. His eyes lingered on me in a way that made my skin crawl. We could explore something more personal just between us, he continued, and in return you'll get the promotion you deserve. My heart pounded, and for a moment I felt like the room was spinning. I couldn't believe what he was saying. This wasn't about my skills, my hard work, or how much I had sacrificed to get to where I was. All Mr. Gass cared about was my looks. He wanted something from me that had nothing to do with the job, and he was offering me a promotion in exchange. I felt a cold chill run down my spine. My mind raced, thinking about all the years I had put into this company, all the nights I had stayed late and the extra hours I had worked. Was this what it had come down to? Was this the only way to succeed? He moved a little closer, his smile growing wider. Ruth, he whispered, you're not married. No one has to know. It'll just be between us. What's the harm in that? I swallowed hard, feeling my stomach twist. I wanted to scream, to run, but I was frozen in place. Everything about this moment felt wrong, like a bad dream. I couldn't wake up from. I had worked so hard to prove myself, to show that I was worthy of more responsibility, but instead I was being reduced to an object, something for him to use. I looked down at my hands, feeling them shake slightly. I knew I had to make a decision, and it wasn't going to be an easy one. The promotion was everything I had wanted for years, but now I knew the cost, and it wasn't one I was willing to pay. I finally stood up, pushing my chair back. As I did, my legs felt weak, but I managed to steady myself. Mr. Gass, I began, my voice barely above a whisper, I'm not that kind of person. I've worked hard for this job, and I've earned everything I have. If you're offering me a promotion because of anything other than my work, then I don't want it. He leaned back in his chair and sighed. You're not ready for the promotion, Ruth. You're not willing to take any risks. There's nothing dangerous in what I'm asking. You're young, you're not married, and if you say yes, you'll move up so fast in your career. This is an opportunity, Ruth. A shortcut to success. His words echoed in my mind, and the pressure started to build. He kept talking, his voice smooth and convincing, telling me all the things I wanted to hear. Think about it, Ruth, he said softly. One small decision and your life changes forever. You'll be in a better position, earning more, respected by everyone. Isn't that what you've been working for? I looked down at the floor, unsure. I knew deep inside that what he was asking was wrong, but his words made me doubt myself. Maybe this was just how the world worked. Maybe everyone had to make these kinds of sacrifices to get ahead. He smiled as he noticed my hesitation. You deserve this, Ruth, he continued, but sometimes we have to do things that aren't so easy to get what we want. Trust me, no one will ever know it'll be our little secret and you'll be rewarded for your courage. I bit my lip, feeling trapped. Every part of me was screaming to run, to say no, but his words were like a net slowly pulling me in. You're smart, you're beautiful, and you have a bright future ahead of you. This is just a step, a little favor, and you'll be where you've always wanted to be. I felt my heart racing. He made it sound so simple, like it wasn't such a big deal. After all, the fear I had earlier started to fade, replaced by the thought of what I could gain. A higher position, more respect, more money, all of it seemed so close, just one decision away. Finally, after what felt like forever, I gave in. I looked up at him, my hands shaking slightly, and said the words I never thought I would. Okay. I whispered yes. His smile grew wider and he nodded, satisfied. Good choice, Ruth. You won't regret it. As I left his office, a knot formed in my stomach. I had said yes, but deep down I wasn't sure if I had done the right thing. Everything felt wrong, but I couldn't turn back now. I told myself that it was just part of growing up, part of making it in the world, but even as I tried to convince myself, the uneasy feeling wouldn't go away. I had made a choice, and now I would have to live with it. Later that weekend, I received a phone call from him. His voice was calm, almost too casual. Ruth, he said, I've rented a hotel room for the two of us. Meet me there tomorrow evening. Dress casually so no one will suspect anything. My heart sank as I held the phone to my ear. I had always been a conservative lady, someone who kept to herself, valued her privacy, and respected her body. Growing up, I was taught to hold on to my values, to protect myself and never let anyone take advantage of me. I had never thought that I would find myself in this kind of situation. Yet here I was, standing in the middle of my room, holding the phone with trembling hands, knowing that I was about to do something that went against everything I believed in. I sat on my bed, staring blankly at the wall, trying to figure out how I had ended up here. All my life I had worked hard to achieve my dreams. I thought that if I stayed focused and worked diligently, I would be rewarded for my efforts, but now it seemed like all of that wasn't enough. The only way to get the promotion I had been working toward for so long was to give up a part of myself, something I had always cherished and protected. As I hung up the phone, I felt a wave of guilt wash over me. This wasn't who I was. I didn't use my body to get ahead. I didn't trade my dignity for success, but now it seemed like I had no choice. The thought of going to that hotel made me sick to my stomach, but the thought of losing my chance at the promotion made me feel even worse. I stood in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection, wondering if I was making the biggest mistake of my life. I was about to expose myself in ways I had never imagined, all for the sake of climbing the corporate ladder. I had always been proud of keeping my body to myself, of not letting anyone pressure me into doing something I wasn't comfortable with, but now I was about to cross a line I had sworn I would never cross. The weight of the decision pressed heavily on my chest, and I could feel my eyes welling up with tears. I knew deep down that I wasn't ready for this, but it felt like I had no way out. It was either do what he asked or watch my dreams slip away. As I prepared to meet him at the hotel, my heart felt heavy. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was losing a piece of myself, something that no promotion or career success could ever replace. When I met him at the hotel, he welcomed me with a tight hug. I could feel his heartbeat, and it made me feel nervous and unsure. I'm glad you came, Ruth, he said with a warm smile. Thank you, I replied softly, my voice barely above a whisper. He led me into the cozy room he had reserved. It was nicely decorated, with soft lights and comfortable chairs. "Please have a seat," he said, gesturing to a chair by the window. I sat down and he sat across from me. For a moment we both looked out the window at the busy street. Below, cars were passing by and people were walking, going about their day. It felt strange to be here away from the office in such a different setting. He broke the silence. "You look very nice today," he said gently. "Thank you," I said, again trying to smile. Inside I felt a mix of emotions: nervousness, confusion, and a little bit of fear. He offered me a glass of juice. "Let's relax and get to know each other better," he suggested. I took the glass and nodded. "Okay," I said quietly. As we talked, I started to feel a bit more comfortable. The conversation flowed easily and I found myself laughing at some of his jokes. It almost felt like we were just two friends chatting. But then he looked at me with a serious expression. "Ruth," he said softly, "I've always admired you. You're smart, hard-working, and very beautiful." I felt my cheeks get warm. "Thank you," I replied, looking down at my hands. He reached over and gently held my hand. "I think we could be very good together," he continued. "I can help you reach your goals and we can enjoy each other's company." My heart started to beat faster. I knew what he was implying and it made me feel uneasy. Again, I'm not sure," I stammered. "This is all so sudden." He gave my hand a gentle squeeze. "There's no need to be afraid," he said. "We can take things slowly. I just want to make you happy." I took a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. Part of me wanted to believe him, to think that this could be a good thing, but another part of me felt that this wasn't right. "Mr. Gass," I began hesitantly, "I appreciate your kindness, but I'm not sure if this is the right thing for me." He looked a bit surprised. "Why not?" he asked. "You're not married and neither am I. We can help each other." He slowly came closer, his eyes locked on mine, and softly pressed his lips against mine in a big deep kiss. His touch was gentle but firm as his hands started to explore, moving slowly down my body. I could feel my heart racing with every moment as he undressed me. His hands were careful, almost like he didn't want to rush, making each moment feel longer. He hands tapped my breath and in a moment my body became aroused. Then he took my hand, leading me gently to the bed where the night was just beginning. He gently laid me down on the bed, his eyes never leaving mine. Slowly he parted my legs, with care, making sure I was comfortable. As he undressed himself, I could feel my body tense with anticipation, ready for whatever was about to happen. My heart was racing and I knew there was no turning back now.